Anyway, moving on. A series of intimate messages, apparently, allegedly, sent by Jerry Horner's husband, the Red Bull racing boss, Christian Horner, to a female employee have been leaked. Now, Christian denies all of the allegations, saying he never sent the messages. One of the screenshots reportedly shows a text from the other party asking, how would you feel if Geri did this? So we don't know the details of this. It has all been denied, so we have to be very clear about that. But there is just all that chat, which must be incredibly difficult to deal with, mustn't it?
I mean, I'm just going to stand in here and say, you know, I'm friends with Geri. I was at their wedding, I was at her birthday, and all I can think of is irrespective of how people are talking about this over the kitchen table, dunking biscuits. You know, it's gossip for some, but ultimately at the heart of this is a family.
Absolutely.
And I've been there. And it just, you know, rumours like this and gossip, it just rips through a family and scandal. You know, when I went through a very public breakup, just seeing people picking over the bones, the carcass of it, it was just, all I could do was try and put sort of a shield around my children. And, you know, that's what you're doing. You're just mopping up that kind of mess. So ultimately, I think it's just really hard for all involved.
It's good for you to remind us of that. That you have been there.
People at the heart of something like this.
Yeah. I mean, what did it feel like to be at the middle of something like that?
It is like you are walking through fire because people are making comments and that, you know, they're deciding already your fate. And I knew that she must have done this, or I saw that he'd done that. And you're just catching up with your own life. Suddenly you're finding out things that you never knew, and it just is so humiliating and painful and hurtful. Then you're having to make decisions you never intended on. And that's what I think with a situation where you have been cheated on, it is so difficult that you are not in control of your own life anymore. Yeah. You're now reacting to someone else's choices for you. And I found that hard. Suddenly I was having to make decisions about the house and children. And mind you, as my friend said, I was always doing it alone. But when it's official, it's very, very hurtful.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's the outside world, dealing with the outside world, because whether it is the entire world, as it must feel like in this instance, or it's your social circle or whatever, you've got that offensive, and then you've got to turn around and speak to this person and decide what you believe, what you don't believe. It must be very difficult to continue in trust. I don't know. Jane?
I mean, putting this story aside, you know, just if you look at sort of public cheating stories over the years, there's usually a pattern where you know, the couple will put on, particularly in politics, will put on a united front. You know, they'll be like, oh, yes, no, it's all fine. We've sorted, you know, right. Nothing to see here. And then what happens is, and then everybody else gets on with their own lives and stops looking at them. And then they process it behind the scenes. And then quite often the relationship ends up breaking up because you do lose that thread of trust. And I think for me, I mean, I've never, as far as I know, I've never been cheated on. I would never say I've never been cheated on, but I don't know that I have. But for me, it would turn me into somebody that I don't want to be.
It does.
Somebody that, because I'm usually quite like, oh, yeah, you were out till 2 a.m. with all your mates from work. Yeah, fine, no problem. If there was a cheating allegation, I would be then going, well, were you?
Yeah.
Out at
Well, you
2
start
a.m.
piecing things together, and the things that you suddenly realise, oh, there was a hole in your story.
Yeah.
And you just feel like a fool. Or maybe people will know more about your own life.
You're not a fool, are you? You're just someone who trusted somebody that you should be able to trust.
That's where you lose choice.
Yeah.
And that's where you lose the choice again over your own life. And that's why I think cheating is such a disrespectful thing to do to another person, because you are free to go. Nobody's shackled you.
Yeah.
But by having the best of both worlds, or not facing up to what it is you want to say, or maybe just testing the water, or whatever reason you might have, it still doesn't justify giving somebody you're supposedly meant to love or once loved, and especially if there's children involved,
Absolutely.
the fallout for them and the humiliation again. And this is not just from a public capacity, this is just normal relationship.
But also, as you say, when children are involved, it becomes so much harder, because then you're thinking, you're not just making a decision for yourself. You know, if you're suddenly going to go, right, OK, this is over, then you're pulling a rug out, you know, if you've got young children. And, you know, when I think back to us three, back in the days before electricity, when we started doing this show, I remember a very well-known clip in my head where we were asked about how, and we were all very like, you know, oh no, absolutely not. No, if they were unfaithful, that's it. I'm out the door.
All of us.
Well, because you guys didn't have children.
Yeah. Yes.
And I reckon you've mellowed.
Well, you were very much back in the day. That would be it at the end.
Really? Gosh, I don't remember anything 25 years ago. But I think that will have been because I was a very much get my toothbrush sort of person and leave anyway. I was that sort of person. But, yeah, since having kids, and I think I've said this before, you know, Mark and I've worked so hard on our marriage, like marriage guidance, counselling, so much that we've gone through to get where we are now, that I don't think I would have that immediate reaction if there was an indiscretion. But if it was an affair, but if it was a bit of an indiscretion, but I'm saying that because I'm saying no, but it's only because I've grown up. I'm saying this, so I'm sitting here with a grown-up attitude, and I've intellectualised it. I've read articles, and I've seen how these things can work. But deep in my soul, I'll probably go completely mad. I probably would go back to that and go mad. But I like to think I would work it out.
Very reasonable.
What, I'm taking bets, girls? I don't pull that off.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, let's hope we never have to judge that one.